All right. Let's see what's going on today. All right, news-wise, why the freaking news? All right. All right, today 9:45 PMI. Golly, bruh. (9:45 PMI), 10 a.m. Golly, bruh. All right, got a couple news events today. Ugh, gotta watch out for that. And then just gonna go through the higher time frames. We got gonna be a long day. I hope not. I sure hope not. All right, higher time frame. We got this kind of holding that above that 200 on the hourly chart. We got some gaps to the upside that you got to be aware of. Some big imbalances on the hourly time frame, pivot points. So that's something to be mindful of. And that's pretty much pre-market high. Or no, it's not. No, it's not. Pre-market highs are way up there, so. So trying to hold it also on the 15 minute, trying to hold this 200. Trying to curl back up. Let's go to the 5 minute. 5 minute, now that 15, that 200, it's rejecting off it on the 5 minute. We'll see how this candle prints. Oh shit, it's already printed. All right, let's kind of draw this out here. We're tapping onto that view up area there. Getting that rejection off the view up. Ugh. I gotta be careful on my Apex accounts on my Take Profit Trader accounts on the news events. Make sure I'm flat on those two news events on my Take Profit Trader accounts. Why does it keep flickering like that? What the hell? Seeing if we can. Looks like this 1 minute candle wants to close above the range possibly here. Getting a push back, getting a push up right now. swear these rhythmic and take profit trader accounts are freaking. I don't know why they're sometimes lag on me. Alright, seeing how this candle closes here. Pushing above the view op for now. Seeing if volume steps back in as a trap or something. Seeing if volume steps back into the push it back inside the range, possibly. I gotta be careful with that news event though. So that 945 is a yellow folder, so it's not really too much to worry about. But I do have to be flat on my take profit trader accounts on that event. We'll see though. I'm gonna need this thing to close back inside the range for me to think about taking this. Alright, push it. What the hell? Why is it lagging, bruh? I swear, I can't catch a break. I need to just trade like live accounts or something. These freaking rhythmic accounts are lagging again. This is such BS, dude. I swear. Like, if it's not one thing, it's always something else. Why is it showing that it's... Look at this shit. Oh my God. I need to just trade a live account and forget about this shit. These freaking prop firms. Look at this crap. Such BS. Ugh. Straight up some bullshit. Oh my gosh. Screw these prop firms. What is happening here? It's not even... This candle is not printing right. I have it on my live chart, bruh. I can't... Straight up just BS, dude. Look at this shit. It's not even moving. Ah, screw Apex, screw all these freaking prop firms. I need to just forget about this shit and just trade a live account. There it goes. Finally updated. Holy crap. But we tapped in. We have a gap here. Pretty much this gap I was looking for, but again, went straight to TP without. This has been my plague recently. It's freaking it going straight to TP. Now that it took out those lows, this gap's invalidated. We're below view op now. Gosh, it's been just going straight to TP without giving me any kind of entries. Like, bro, you can't just pull up just a little bit, tap into it before going for those lows. Just fill that gap just a little bit. No, you can't. Same shit happened Friday. Same exact crap happened Friday. And the problem is I can't get in down here because that risk to reward is complete garbage. I have to wait for it to pull up to the gap. I'm hoping actually hoping December is actually going to be some good price action for me, because you know, it's going to be a lot of probably choppy price action. I do pretty good in choppy price action as long as it has a range, like a decent sized range, and doesn't freaking, you know, just go sideways without. But if it has a pretty decent range and it's trending sideways, I do pretty good in those markets. I know a lot of people are not going to like December if it's sideways, but if you know what market you're in, then you can really take advantage of it. Fed getting ready to step in? What do you mean getting ready to step in? All right, now we've broken down below that 5 minute. When's FOMC? Is it this month? It's not this month, is it? Oh, that's just. We got a lot of red folder events going on this week. We got a lot of red folder. We got red folder on, obviously, today, 10 a.m. red folder. Tuesday, no red folder Tuesday. Wednesday, 10 a.m. red folder. Thursday, 8:30 red folder. Friday, a lot of 10 a.m. red folder on Friday. So. Yeah, don't they? I'm not. Well, I can't see more. I think it's. Let me actually try to Google it. When's. Oh yeah, 9th through 10th. So FOMC is what, next week, I guess. And here's the same setup that happened on Friday. This is the second one. I don't know, man. I'm kind of iffy taking these second ones. I just don't. This may work out, but I'm more confident taking this first one than the second one. The problem was with the second one, like I said last Friday, I don't know the probabilities of this. So we'll see if it works out, though. I mean, I am tempted. Here's the dilemma. I'm tempted to take it. If it works out, great. But if it doesn't work out, I'm going to be pissed at myself because I haven't backtested the second one. The second setup of the day. I only backtested the first one. So, like, I know the stats on the first setup. But yeah, FOMC is the 9th through the 10th. So that's what? Next week, probably? And here we got that gap. And run straight to TP without. We still gets that retracement. That is tempting because they took out those lows too. Gosh, this is really tempting. I feel like it's going to run straight to TP without, again. Yep, there's TP. Bro, I don't know how are you supposed to get in these? Like, by the time I realized I was going for the highs, right, it's up here. I can't have 10, 20, 30 point take profit and a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 point. You know, so it's like these setups, even though you know it's going for those highs, most likely, you still have to wait. Like, you know, I would have to wait for the pullback into this gap because, see, if it pulls back into the 50% mark, fills this imbalance, or even the entry right here, you know, you're still getting, what, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 point stop, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, about a 1-to-1 risk to reward on that. So you're getting that 1-to-1, but you have to get it in here. You cannot get it up here. Why the hell does it keep flickering, bud? Tesla? I don't watch Tesla. What's going on with Tesla? It took out New York high, sold, took out liquidity, shot to the top. Yeah, it took out, not quite pre-market. What is that? Took out those lows down there. If you look on a 15-minute chart. So I was, even though we were below view up, I was still more confident we're gonna push back up. I feel like December is gonna be a really good month for me, honestly. All right, we took out that low down there. You can see it swept that low and just went for those highs. The way it's setting itself up, I mean, I'm getting the setups. It's just not giving me the pullbacks. So, same thing happened last. This is a mirror image of what happened last Friday. Exactly the same setup happened last Friday. To where, you know, I got a setup right here too. I got a setup right here for a short, but then it goes straight to TP. And once it takes out these lows, it's pretty much invalidated. It's invalidated at that point. So then we got another setup for a long right there, this gap right here. And again, it just went straight to the TP without pulling back into this gap right here. So when it doesn't pull back, you can't take it. Which sucks because you know it's like a good setup, but you still have to stay out. Now if we start displacing these highs up here, I think we could start trending to the upside. And then we kind of establish the trend. Did I say destablish? Establish. We got 9 minutes till news too. So we got, I mean, now that we're above view up, we got some highs up there. We got a gap. So there is levels of resistance up here. Right? You got this bearish imbalance right there. You got these highs up here and you got a bunch of pivot points. So there is, you know, gonna be some levels that price is gonna have a tough time getting through. Nonetheless, I mean, we'll see. Oh my gosh, I just messed up my established. to de-establish something, write it down. Looks like it wants to go for those highs up there at that 342 mark. Right, we got that displacement. Now if this thing, see, now it's testing the 5 minute. If this thing tests the 5 minute, there, you see how it just tested the 5 minute and then just shot right back up? I mean, that's a pretty good sign for the longs. if you're in a long. And now we look like we want to go for those highs up there. So pay attention to warning signs, right? When price breaks above this 5 minute and then gets back into the range, right? That's a warning sign for that we're not going to get that continuation just yet, right? Same thing. Look, it broke below this 5 minute range, faked out right back into the range, went for those highs. Now that we're above the 5 minute range, we're trying to test that 5 minute range as support. If we can hold this 5 minute range as support like it's doing right now, we can start shooting up to the upside to grab another level, which is, if you look on the 15 minute chart, there's this 342 level up there. It's about to take out. Look at that. Testing it, you see those wicks now going for that 342. That 5 minute range tells you a lot. If you pay attention, like if you just mark out the 5 minute high, mark out the 5 minute low, and then watch that every day and see how price reacts from that 5 minute range. What does price do when it, drops back inside the range? What does price do when it closes outside and closes back inside the range? What does price do when it closes outside the range and holds this range as support like it's doing right now? And if you pay attention, you'll start to see some things, some patterns. Thoughts on CLF? I don't know what CLF is. Cliff bar? Am I tripping? Or it looks a lot like people could have got wrecked with those huge wicks. Oh, for sure. People did get wrecked. 100%. 100%. This is I trade like a sideways market like this. I love this price action. Somebody else, obviously other traders hate it. Breakout traders, this is not good for a breakout trader. Somebody takes the breakout and gets stopped out. And then somebody takes the breakout to the short side, gets stopped out. So I told you, if it holds this 5 minute range, we're shooting. Which crypto are you talking about? I'm not trading crypto. I'm trading NASDAQ. So we just took out those 15-minute highs up there. There they go. Tapping into this pivot point. Now, right? You got to always look for higher time frames. Go on the hourly chart. What do you see on an hourly chart? There's a massive gap coming up on that hourly chart. Starting at this. Let me try. I have to zoom in. Starting at, we just tapped into the gap actually. So it's tapping into this big imbalance right here. Probably going to see some form of resistance here. Some sort of a pullback possible. Oh man. So, but yeah, this is futures NASDAQ index. I look for buys for that high liquidity sweep. For buys or sells, you mean? We got 3 minutes till news. Oh, okay. Market structure shift on lower time frames. Lower the time frame, small liquidity sweep. Yeah, so we got that today on the 15 minute. It swept out those lows down there on the 15 minute. I love when it does that too. When it just barely takes out the low like that and then you get aggressive buying step in. That's a pretty good sign in my book. And then And then pretty much just shot up from there. It's one thing that sucks when you get, sometimes you get so much buying pressure or selling pressure that it doesn't give you entries. Which in that case, I mean, you just gotta, there's nothing you can do. You have to follow your rules. It sucks. That's part of trading where you know there's a high likelihood of price going to a certain area, but you need a specific entry in order to get into the position. You're not going to take it just up there. You need a pullback, at least some sort of a pullback. And if it doesn't give you that, you just pretty much got to watch price go straight to your TP without. Literally, this is the second day in a row that this has happened to me. Second day in a row. Told you, there's going to be some resistance here. We're getting this pullback now. If it pulls back, it could hold these wicks up here as support, possible. I find it, like, even if you don't take a trade, I find it fun being able to, like, come on the chart and then be able to know, all right, price is probably going to reject right here. It's probably going to have some sort of selling pressure, and then it does exactly what you said it's going to do. And then you're like, all right, it's probably going to, you know, hold, it's got to hold this level in order to continue going up. And boom, it does that. And you're just like, over time, you build that muscle memory of being able to, and confidence. And then you start to see patterns where you understand what happens with NASDAQ when it, you know, closes outside the range and then closes aggressively back inside the range. Right? It happened twice. And you can see, goes to that level. Then closes outside, aggressively closes back in, leaves a gap, goes to the next level. All right? Closes outside the range, displaces above it, holds it as support, goes to the next level. So it's going from level to level. That's the thing, is what level is it going to? Bro, why does my screen keep flickering? Hate missing all those moves. Could have passed so many accounts with all those moves. Bro, I understand. It sucks. This is the second day in a row where I've gotten a really good setup, but either sellers or selling pressure or buying pressure were so aggressive that it didn't give me that pullback. It just went straight to TP. It sucks. I mean, I could have been up. Bro, I could have been up these past 2 days if I would have gotten the setup. I would have been up $5,000 in 2 days from those two setups, but I feel like this is going to be the type of price action that we're going to get all month long. This right here, like you're seeing today. Hopefully, man. I feel like December is going to be a really good month for me. I'm saying it. I'm speaking it. Because November was not good for me. November was just, I was just hovering at break even all November. Now is my time to shine. December. That's because you don't know what you're doing. Okay. Or is it actually the complete opposite? I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not chasing everyone's setups. That's the problem. Some people chase setups. And when you hear of some social media influencers saying, oh, price action was garbage this month, or price action, that's why I said for me. Price action was not good for me, November. Other people you see, man, November price action has been the best month of the year for me, you know? It's all relative. It's based on your strategy. It's like, watch December price action be really good for my strategy, and then other people are going to be like, man, December price action was shitty. Is that because they don't know how to trade? Or is that because their setup wasn't playing out that month? That's the part of trading that many people don't understand, is there are months where you're playing defense. November, I was playing defense, where I wasn't, you know, I was just preserving capital for the times that when your setup comes and it's working out often, then you hammer down on that. There's no such thing as good price action. Good price action for one person is shitty price action for another person. That's what, yeah, being break even is good. And if you don't understand that being break even is good, then you're going to be the type of person to chase everything because you don't want to be break even. So you start forcing things. And guess what happens when you force things? You start taking crazy losses. Like, I'm not here to, you know, I'm not here to sit there and just like take on trades and just be super, you know. I'm here to build these accounts. I'm being patient. I know my strategy, like today, right? There's days where it sets itself up but does not give me the entry. Trust me, like anyone else, I want to take a trade. I want to take an entry. But if I don't get it, I can't break my rules. Especially how aggressively I take positions, I can't break my rules. I have to be more disciplined than the average person. So if I go on tilt, I can blow my accounts, which I'm not doing. So, and I've set rules up in place to protect myself from going on tilt and from being patient just for my setups. Because like I tell people, don't trade something you haven't back tested. If you're trading something that you haven't back tested and you don't know the data behind it, you're just kind of blindly trading. You don't know what you're trading. You may make money here and there, but the question is, are you going to make money long term? What the hell was the price? All right, it's like stuck for a second. I had a limit order on that ES and it missed by a few points, then rip instantly, bro. Those are the hardest. I've had that happen. What is it? I had that happen recently, actually. That sucks. Where it's like you put your limit order in and it freaking comes like a point away from filling you and then rips to your TP. And it's like those kind of trades. Those are also the trades that separate. You know, are you going to be the trader who jumps in at the last second and tries to like catch it, and now your risk to reward is garbage? Or are you just going to let it run and just wait for something else? I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand that all trading is a probabilities game. That's it. Why does the freaking screen keep flickering, bruh? They're on to me. That all trading is a game of probabilities. Hold on. Give me a second. Something's wrong with... That all trading is a game of probabilities. Every single strategy has its win rate, has its probabilities, right? Even a strategy, you can tweak a strategy and tweak the probability of the strategy just by tweaking some minor detail of the strategy. And I was listening this weekend, actually. I was listening to I forgot what his name was, Tim Dante or something like that. He's like a Australian dude who has he's interviewed. He has actually an interesting compilation of risk management, and he has a compilation of all his episodes and every single professional trader talking about risk management. And these aren't just like these aren't influencer traders. These are like, you know, these are like traders that have managed like hundreds of millions of dollars at some point. And you know what's a similarity between all those traders, those professional traders that talk about data and keeping track of your data and understanding your data. That's an important part of trading. If you're not, I say this a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you're not keeping track of your data and you're not journaling, are you really even trading? All you're doing is pushing the lever on a slot machine. That's all you're doing. You're not going to get better. You're not going to become a better trader. You're doing something. You're stagnant. And you want to hear something crazy that I've realized this weekend? Bro, why is it doing this? Want to hear something crazy? Theoretically, do you know you can have a 50% win rate with a 1-to-1 risk to reward. right? You would think 50% win rate, 1-to-1 risk to reward, minus commissions and all that, you're break-even trader, right? But you can have a 50% win rate and a 1-to-1 risk to reward and still be a profitable trader just by the way you manage your risk. Think about it. With sizing, if you have a sizing method of managing your risk, for example, there are 3 stages every single trader goes through, and you're at one of those 3 stages at any point of your trading career. Either you're on a win streak, either you're break even, or you're on a losing streak, right? There's nothing else that can happen. Win streak, break even, or losing streak. Now, if you can devise a risk management system to where when you're break even, obviously it's fine. It's a good place to be in, right? You're not losing, you're not making, you're playing defense. If you're on a losing streak, if you can devise a plan to where you're sizing down, right? For example, if you're risking $400 and you take a certain amount of losses and then you size down. For example, if you take 3 losses in a row, you start half sizing. If you take another 2 losses in a row, you half size again until you start making back those half sized to be able to scale back up. So what ends up happening, you can have a 50% win rate and a 1-to-1 risk to reward. And because of your sizing down method, what happens is on your losing streaks, you're sizing down. So you're not losing too much money. And when you're on a winning streak, you're staying sized up. So this is what I'm saying is technically with a 1-to-1 risk to reward and a 50% win rate, with the right risk management strategy, you can actually be profitable. Just by risk management, just by being able to manage your trades correctly, which is a crazy concept that you could think of. Bro, all I have is 35% and it's good enough. Yeah, 35%, that's relative. That's the thing is what people need to understand. 35%, you can have there's somebody, I think I've saw something where somebody had a 5% 5% win rate and still was profitable. Now, here's the thing, right? Typically, it goes when you have a higher win rate, right? You have a higher win rate, you're going to go on less losing streaks. When you have a low win rate, you're going to have more losing streaks. You're going to take more losses, obviously, than the person with a higher win rate. So it ends up like, you know, you have to have one or the other. You're going to have, because with a lower win rate, you're going for higher RR trades, right? With a low win rate, like you said, like a 35% win rate, you've got to be going for like, you know, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 trade, 1 to 5. So you're going for a higher RR. The higher the win rate, the lower the lower RR you need to have. There are people, bro, there are people with a negative risk to reward that are profitable. So it's like it all depends on your psychology. What fits your psychology? Some people are good at, some people can go through those drawdown streaks and they're fine with taking losses, and then they hit that one big trade and it makes back all their losses plus more. Some other people like me, I like base hit trades. I don't want to go for anything crazy. If I can catch a 1-to-1 and have an 80% win rate, 70-80% win rate with a 1-to-1, I'm perfectly fine with that. Was down like 80 bucks on account earlier and clicked market buy by mistake and made 100 bucks. Good thing it wasn't the other way around. Not gonna lie, I've been trading for 3 years plus, and when I started off 1-to-1 wasn't working for me 3-to-1. That's the crazy part about, that's the awesome part about trading. Like, see, for you, 1-to-1 wasn't working. Higher RRs work better for you. But why? Because it works better for your psychology. Every person is wired differently in their psychology. And that's the hard part about trading, is you got to find a strategy that works with your psychology. You can't force something in, right? So I do better with 1-to-1. You do better with higher RRs, but you can go through drawdowns more, right? I go through less drawdowns than probably you do. So, but you can go through the drawdowns because you have a higher RR. So it just, you know, I need a better risk to reward. Yeah, and that's where you got to tweak your stat. That's where keeping track of your data comes in. Where you go back to your losses and you try to figure out, all right, how can I increase my risk to reward? What can I do better? Should I scale out 50% on the first TP? Should I scale out 90% on the first TP and leave a little bit of a runner? Or 50% and leave the other 50%? Should I move my stop to break even? All this depends on your data. And that's you going back into the charts and keeping track of your data, going back on the charts and seeing what you could have done to possibly boost that win rate. Are there any tweaks you could have made? And the smallest little tweak can boost your risk to reward. But people going for higher RR trades, what you need to make sure you're doing is you've got to really especially pay for higher time frames. You got to pay attention to higher time frames, especially. A 1 to 3 and a 1 to 4 are better because I can have a 20% win rate and still be profitable. Exactly, yeah. 100%. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I saw a video of somebody that had like a 5 to 10% win rate and he was still profitable, right? Now, he's going to take a bunch of losses in a row, a lot of losses. But then eventually that one trade makes back every one of those losses and more. See, with my psychology, I want to be in and out. Like, I just want to get a setup like this, right? Get a setup, it taps into the gap, I get my entry, and it goes straight to TP within 5 minutes or whatever. I want to be in and out of the market. I want as less exposure in the market as I can. So, ideally, if I can get into a trade and 5 minutes later it runs to my TP and I'm out and I made my money and I'm happy, I'm good with that. Some people like the quick profit taking. Some people like the being able to get into a position and allowing it to breathe, allowing the trade to work out. It's kind of, you can actually manage it way better. It's maybe less stressful for you. I had to go back and look at my wins and losses. That's a part of what a lot of beginners, I think that's a big mistake where beginners, and I made the same mistake that they don't do, is they don't pay attention to their losses and wins. I did this for a long time. Bruh, for the first, I would say for the first 1.5 to 2 years of my trading, I didn't really pay attention to I was just I was taking trades. All right, if it was a losing trade, I would walk away and come back the next day. If it was a winning trade, walk away. I wouldn't pay attention, so I wouldn't know what I'm doing wrong. So when you don't know what you're doing wrong and you can't learn from your mistakes, you're stagnant. You're not growing. Over time, my psychology built for me and I was able to just hold my trades for days and weekends. Bro, that's awesome. Yeah, if you... See, you can manage your trade. See, for you, your psychology, it works. For me, I can't do it. I just can't. I'm going to be thinking about it all the time. If I'm going to trade and I leave the computer and I leave and I'm trying to do something, it's always in the back of my mind, this trade. Oh, how's this trade working out? How is this trade? How is this trade? And I'm constantly going to be checking and checking. I don't like that. I personally like to take a trade, walk away, and not even think about the market anymore. I know I'm not in a position. I know I'm flat, so I don't care what happens. I don't have to worry about it. And sizing rules, right? When you're in a longer term position, obviously you have to size differently than I do. When you realize, when you start, I begin to realize that there are so many variables in trading, the slightest tweak, and even you can have a profitable strategy that's very solid, and you can have, let's say you have a 70% win rate with that's a profitable strategy. It's a really good strategy if you have a 70% win rate. And understanding that the smallest tweak, think about it, the smallest tweak you make in your strategy, maybe the market shifted, right? Say the market shifted, the price is moving a little differently, and the smallest tweak in your strategy can boost your win rate from like 70 to 75 to 80% just by a small tweak, and now you're cutting out a bunch of losses. You're boosting your win rate by a lot, potentially. So that's why trading is a continuous improvement game. You never get, I don't think you ever get to a level in trading where you have a strategy that's profitable and you just kind of like, oh, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to, I'm just trading it and that's it. Like, you're always needing to be like paying attention to your data. And as long as your data is solid and nothing is changing, then you continue trading it. If the market starts to shift and now you start to see shifts in your data, or maybe you're starting to take more losses in a row than usual, you got to take a step back and be careful and analyze what's going on. Even hedge funds, people don't understand, even hedge funds tweak their algorithms. Every single week, hedge funds tweak their algorithms. So you as a trader are going to have times where you got to tweak your strategy. I was like that at first, to always check my charts, but you just gotta forget about it. Yeah, I think it over time, I guess over time when you trade a certain amount of strategy, like even for my strategy, right? There are times where, man, I can go days without taking a trade. I'm just waiting for that perfect trade. In the beginning, it's very difficult for the average person to be able to come in this many times into the market and not take a trade because he's waiting for his setup. In the beginning, it was very difficult. Now it's not difficult for me at all. I just come in, I trade, I get a setup, I take it, I don't, I walk away. So, but I guess over time, whether it's your strategy that you have to, you're holding possibly days, I guess you do build that psychology. So you build it to the point where you've been doing it so many times that you're just, you have your TP, you have your stop in place, and you're just letting it ride. Whatever happens, worst case scenario, you get stopped out. It is what it is. So you're not really worried about it on the back end so much because you have your TP and stop set in place for worst case scenario. Can't make trading your number one priority. Yeah, exactly. Trading is more of like I am obsessed with trading. So I do but it's not it's not my number one priority in a sense of I love to learn about it and to, grow and stuff like that. It's like a job, but I don't think somebody should be on the charts and constantly sitting on the charts all day long. People try to sit till from morning till afternoon trying to catch trades. I don't think it's good. Even if you could find a strategy that you can get that many setups, I don't think it's good for your mental. The mental fatigue that you get in trading, it comes pretty quickly. Especially when you've been waiting for a trade for so long and then you take a loss. That messes with your psychology. Or when you're on a winning streak and you start giving everything back, that also messes with your psychology. So I'm a big proponent of less is more in trading. The less trades you can take, I think the better off you are. And by less, I mean you take less trades, but you wait for high probability setups. Instead of taking a bunch of, high probability and low probability, why not just cut out all the low probability ones and just wait for the really good setups? The setups, you get trades in the market. You get trades where you're just dude, this is almost you can't say guaranteed to go to take profit, but you're so confident in this trade going to take profit that everything looks amazing about the trade. There are those times that those trades do come around. And why not wait for good setups like that? It takes a lot of patience, it does, but I think overall in the long term, you're just a way better trader the more patient you are. Getting this chop up here. Yeah, but I only trade like 2 to 3 times a week. Same here with me. That's just my data. I know I come in every single day. That's the hard part about trading. I come in every single day because I don't know when my setup is going to happen. So I, as a trader, have to come in every single day. But on average, I may take like 2 trades a week. So it's like I'm not getting a setup every day. That's just how my strategy pans out. On average, it ends up being about 2 trades a week. So you got to think about it. If you're taking 2 trades a week, your first trade is a winning trade, and then your second trade is a losing trade, you're break even on the week. That's fine. That's no big deal. If your first trade is a winning trade, your second trade is a winning trade, boom, you're up a crazy amount on the week. And if your first trade is a losing trade and your second trade is a losing trade, you know, you're down some, but it's not the end of the world. Most of the time that really doesn't happen. I don't think I've even had that, to have, you know, 2 losing trades in 1 week. I've had it happen, but it's not common. It's not a common thing to happen. All right, we're failing. I told you, man. I told you there's going to be some resistance up here. You can see why. You go on this hourly chart, you see that massive gap up there. We just tapped into pretty much almost the 50% of that gap and rejecting off it, having trouble to get through. Now you realize, like, you're realizing why it's having so much trouble up here. We have this massive hourly imbalance here that we're tapping into. So here, give me a second. I'll be back in a second. All right, we're coming back into this 5-minute high. Yeah, but that's why I'm big on the RR. Because I can have 3 losing days with 1 winning day and still a green week. Yeah, that is true. So that is true. So you're psychologically, you know that all you're doing is waiting for that one, you know that trade is coming. Like, you know that trade is coming and you just have to wait for it. So it's like, for me, I take 1 to 1, but on average, you know, I have like, I bounce around from like a 70 to 80% win rate. So, you know, most of the time I'm taking good trades. Like, I'm taking, you know, winning trades. Here and there, I do take losing trades, but sometimes, you know, you get those cluster of losing trades, but over the long stretch of trades, you know, your win rate is still high. It's just like you flipping heads or tails, right? You're going to have those little streaks where you take, you know, you flip heads 3 times in a row. It's possible. So but I'm pretty good about, like, with my strategy, knowing where to take TP for that, like, for high probability. I just go for the high probability setups, right? So it's like, where price is right now, where is the highest probability that it's going to go from here? And if it's a 1 to 1 for me, I'll take the trade. So, trying to test this 5-minute again. This is the first Monday in like 3 weeks. This is the first Monday in like 3 weeks. The past 2 weeks, every single Monday, I've gotten an entry for a setup. This is the first Monday where I got a setup, but it didn't give me that entry. So, last 2 Mondays, I got a good trade in. We're winning trades. And that's the other thing. Once you grow, trading, understand this. Like, trading is a scaling thing. The compounding of trading is so crazy that once you grow your accounts, you don't even need to take you don't need to take a lot of trades. If you're making, $2,600, you're making $2,000 a trade, like, do you really need to? You could take 2 trades a week and make $4,000 in a week. So, and then you keep compounding that. That $2,000 days turns into $4,000 days, turns into $5,000 days, turns into 6, 7, 8. And by the time you know it in your trading career, you've built up and you're at a level where you're doing $10,000 days. And then you can continue growing. The growing can never stop. Like, there are people hitting 6-figure days, right? So it's like, there's so many levels to this to trading that like the sky is the limit. Trying to hold this 5-minute right here. We're also, are we at, let me see. Yeah, we're at VWAP too. So not only is it a 5-minute high, the 5-minute top, but we also got the VWAP right there. I don't know why price keeps... I don't know what's wrong with these, like, what's been going on recently with, like, why is my, look how it's just, it's stagnant. It's just glitched right now. I don't know why it keeps doing that. All right, there it goes. It, like, glitches for a second. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm really I'm hoping that sometime in January I could start this live account. I really want to start this live account. But I'm waiting for that payout. It may take some time. I can't, the thing about it is like, I can't force it. I wish I could just go on some winning streak right now and, like, be taking trades every single day. Who knows? Maybe December is going to give me that, but I wish I could get to that payout quicker, but I can't. I have to I have to just wait for the setups, and if I get it, I get it. Because I understand in the back of my mind, could I, yes, theoretically just go ham and freaking get to that payout? Yeah, but I can also blow my account doing that. So I would rather play the safer way and just really wait for the setups I'm confident in. And just slowly build to that payout. Trying to bounce off VWAP here. 10:30, so was that reversal? Also pay attention, a lot of times at 10:30 we get this like reversal sometimes. So It's probably going to chop around here. It looks like it could chop around here, view up. It's I don't know why Rhythmic is so laggy today. I don't know. I hope it's not going to be like this for... It's laggy. Like, I have real-time data, and I could see where price is about to break down this low. There, it broke the low. See, it hasn't broken the low on my chart. It's like... It's pretty laggy. I don't know why. It's actually really laggy now. We're way down here now. You gotta be careful, because this can really screw you up if you're trying to take a trade. It's like 5 seconds delayed from the actual... I don't know why it's doing that. I have... Alright. Pretty much rejected off that hourly imbalance to the T. Swept those highs. Now we're going lower. Welcome to December price action. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Displaced below the view op, tapping into this imbalance here. And also pay attention to when, like for example, if you're in a short, right? Hypothetically, if you're in a short position here, like pay attention to the gaps that are coming up, right? You got this bullish gap right there. You got a couple gaps right there. Like, understand that if you're in a short and price gets to those gaps, there's a chance that price could bounce off them, have some sort of buying pressure come off them. So, either you want to take profit in that gap, or you got to be okay with going through some, you know, with waiting for price to go all the way back up, possibly, like it's doing right now. Wow. Tapped into this last gap right here, and all those freaking buyers stepping right back in. Back above the view op too. Coming to test this old support level, now possibly turning into a resistance level. If it doesn't get through it. Tapping, rejecting off this resistance, going back down. Man. Now we're trying to hold the top of this 5 minute. It's a good side. We're still above view op at this point. Now if we break out of this 333 level, if we fail to hold this as resistance, it tried it one time. If it fails, I mean, we could rip all the way back up to the upside possibly. But if it holds this resistance as resistance, then we could roll over back to the downside. Interest rates to zero, probably getting a dog walk. Yeah, doesn't Trump want to fire Powell? Which is funny because he appointed him. So failed to hold it as resistance. Looks like we're may want to run to the upside. Maybe take out these body candle highs up here. But there's that pivot point. Not until May. Yeah, the dude has, to be honest with you, Powell has a pretty crazy job for the amount he gets paid. For what he do, like, for the job level he has, I don't think he gets paid enough. Like, that's a crazy. How much does he get? No, much does he makes? So Jerome Powell makes $190,000 a year. $190,000 a year to freaking be in charge of the Federal Reserve. Like, bruh. I feel like that's not enough for what, like, for the amount of responsibility the dude has. Jishu's still on. Yeah, I'm on till 11 o'clock usually. Market's going sideways, so I'm going to be hopping off around 11. Like, I don't mind watching price action. I like to see what it does. Lets me understand also what you know, gets me a good idea what December could start looking like. You know, if December could start looking like this, I'm excited. Why do you like choppy PA? I just I like choppy PA with a range, right? Like this. I like it go sideways, but it has a big range like this. Because I'm like a mean reversion type of trader. What I look for is every single day, like this first setup right here. What I look for is price to break out of the 5-minute range and then fake out. And then close back inside the range. You see how it left a bullish gap right there? That's a sign for me that when price closes outside the range, closes back inside this 5-minute range, and it leaves a gap like that, that's a sign that we could go to the opposite side and we could fill this, go for these lows down here, which it did. So that's why I like sideways, because a lot of times when we get markets where, market opens up, it breaks out of the 5-minute range, tests this as a high, and then starts ripping to the upside, I don't get a setup. That's partially why November has been kind of slow for me, was because November had a lot of that, where we would just break out of the range and continue ripping to the upside. So, or downside. So when we get kind of markets where, at least in the morning, if it can kind of give this one fake out, I love that. But it takes a lot of patience for that kind of setup because it doesn't happen all the time. But even backtesting, go in and backtesting and go in like 2 months worth of data and just go back and see how many times, what happens when price closes outside the range and then closes back in. TGR's bootcamp strategy played out today. Nice. Don't buy anything. It's all free on YouTube. Yeah, I agree. Don't buy anything. Don't pay money for anything. It's all free on YouTube. Don't waste your money. And if you're trying to learn, regardless of what mentor it is, whether it's somebody you find on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, I think, and this is only my opinion, I think the biggest red flag, if the person you're learning from says, again, that he or she doesn't journal their trades, I don't know. That's a huge red flag for me. That's like one of the biggest red flags for me. If I was in a spot where I was trying to learn trading, that would be the biggest spot for me. If somebody says, "Oh, I don't journal," be like, "All right, that tells me everything I need to know." But yeah, there's a lot of content. I mean, there's a lot of content on YouTube, so I don't get why people are so quick. Like some people are so quick to just rush in and try to pay for stuff because they feel like if they pay for it, they're going to become profitable. And it doesn't work that way. And especially in trading, right? Any other industry, you kind of learn, like, e-commerce, right? There's a specific way to do e-commerce. So when somebody sells like an e-commerce course, you can follow their blueprint and you can make money like they're making money. Trading is the opposite. There is no like set way of making money in trading. Like we were talking about earlier, a strategy that works for one person may not work for another person. So somebody could be selling a day trading, some kind of course that it may be a profitable strategy, but it may not work for you. So that's why I'm not too for of like buying strategies and like, buying courses, and doing all this, because you don't know if that strategy is going to work for you. And do you really want to pay a lot of money for something that, may not work for you? Especially when it's probably for free on YouTube. But I say the best teacher in trading, the best teacher is time. If you have time and you get obsessed with it, time, and learning and journaling, your mistakes and sticking to a strategy, that goes the best. That goes a long way. Another thing that could be dangerous, but there's a balance to it. So when you're learning how to trade, right? Obviously you're going to be hopping from strategy to strategy to strategy, but at some point you got to stop strategy hopping. You got to stop. I saw the other day a trader. He's been making content for a while. And he's like the type of trader where he's been struggling for a while. I've seen his content and he admits it. He's not pretending to be he's not pretending to be a profitable trader. So it's like, he's been trying trading for like 8 years already. Some of you probably may know who I'm talking about, but he's been trying trading for 8 years and still isn't profitable. And like just recently I saw a video of him trying some other person's strategy. Like, you cannot strategy hop so many times because you're starting to learn a whole new strategy. And if you're just going to be the person that goes through some drawdown and jumps to another strategy, you got to understand that based on your win rate, there is a certain percentage chance that you're going to take losing trades in a row. If you take 3-4 losing trades in a row, does not mean the strategy doesn't work. It depends on your win rate. And some people go through some losing streak and they automatically think the strategy doesn't work. I gotta find another strategy. This strategy doesn't work. And they jump to another strategy. And then they spent their whole trading careers just jumping from strategy to strategy to strategy to strategy, never sticking to anything. Versus sticking to one strategy and tweaking that strategy and making it, like, becoming an expert at that strategy. Instead of trying to learn everything, become an expert at one thing. That's why also I'm not a big proponent of jumping from from NASDAQ to ES to gold to all of this, because like if I trade gold, I may not trade gold as good. Like, and I don't see a point. Like, why not become an expert at NASDAQ and understand how it moves, because you've been watching it for 2-3 years already, so you understand how it moves, and become an expert at NASDAQ and have a strategy that works and constantly tweak that strategy if you need to tweak it. Why not do that versus trying to jump around from place to place to place to place? And I'm just sharing the stuff I've been through, right? Because I don't want people to go through to the same struggles I've been through. Look how it's having these glitches. I don't know why Rhythmic today has been glitching. So be careful. If you have Rhythmic or Trade-Evate, be careful and pay attention to where it's glitching, because you look at this glitch right here. It has this, like, I don't know if maybe it's just my accounts. I don't know. Partially another reason why eventually I'm just looking to take a payout and start a live account, because this, like, it's kind of annoying. It doesn't do this all the time, but my NASBI is recovered and doing better. Nice. All right, going for those highs. Yeah, I don't know why it's so delayed, bruh. I have no idea. Like, it's already broken out of these highs and it's ripping, but on my chart, it's still, like, down here. It's 25,387, 25,403 on my other chart. So be careful. I don't know if it's doing it for you guys too, but highs are my TP. Nice. I'm glad it worked out. I think it's my platform. I mean, I think it's Rhythmic, or I don't think it's Ninja Trader. I think it's something with Rhythmic. Because I have two connections. I have Rhythmic and Tradeovate. I don't know if it's my Rhythmic connection or my Tradeovate. I think it's my Rhythmic connection. Here, I'll restart it. But see, when I restart it, everything is good. And then it just like starts to... Going to break even risk-free now. Nice. Yeah. Then you can have a... Also, be careful about the, like... I've heard this too, where some people say risk-free. Sometimes if you look about it, it's not necessarily risk-free because it's missed opportunity. For example, like when some people put their stops, like for example, if your entry was like, let's say your entry was at, 25, 326, and it took out this high, and you're like, all right, stops to break even. Your stop's at break even, and you're still fully in the position, and you're still waiting for maybe another level to get hit. If this thing comes back down and stops your full position at break even, technically that was missed opportunity. If you were up all that money and it went back to break even, that was money that you could have taken off. But you see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying don't do like runners and stuff, but obviously if if a runners works for you, then why not? But be careful about how much you leave on, because last thing you want is for a trade to be working and you're up a decent amount and then it comes back and stops you out at break even. And then you're just like, crap, I was up, $700 and now I'm break even. When you could have been up $700. It's rare for, yeah, exactly. If you've back tested it and you like, it's rare for you, by all means, yeah, continue doing it. But there are some people that have this mindset, like, that they're continuously taking break-even trades, and they're thinking, well, it's risk-free because I'm being break-even. But then you go, well, look back on how much money you've just given up by always moving your stop to break-even. Like, if you're constantly getting stopped out break-even, is it really risk-free, or you're actually, it's missed opportunity that you could have taken out, but you left runners? But like you said, if it works for you, if you rarely get stopped at a break even, and continue doing it. As long as it's working, continue doing it. Now pay attention to your data. If it stops working and you start noticing that maybe the market starts to shift, like for example, December is coming up. Understand that December can have some choppy price action. So if maybe a couple trades you start getting stopped out at break even, understand that, well, maybe for December I gotta stop doing that, or I gotta tweak it a little bit, because if we're gonna have chop, you may not get the momentum you want, just to protect yourself. And that's where I talk about like where you do have to make sometimes adjustments. When a market is trending, that's going to be different from like maybe December, when the market's kind of going chopping sideways all of December. That's why I have more than one TP. Sometimes one TP taps and goes to break even, but I still had a win. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, but as long as you keep track of your data and understand, like, when it starts hurting you, then you kind of scale back and go, hold up, I just got stopped out at break even on 2 trades in a row. So I got to take a step back and see, do I need to, maybe adjust it for this month, or... Because, like, see, for me, it didn't work. I tried it. I tried these break even ones. I tried to leave runners, but what ended up happening for me was, so obviously there are times where I leave a runner. I would leave a runner and it would hit the second TP. And then I would also leave a runner, and then the runner would get stopped out at break even. But what I realized is, yes, there are times where you make more money per day, but those other times where the runner stops you out at break even, technically that trade, if you would have hit full TP, right, you would have been up more money. So the trades that hit full TP versus the trades that stop me out at break even, for my strategy at least, it ends up balancing out. So it ends up being the same thing because some runners get stopped at a break even, some runners run. So in the end, it comes out to the same thing. So I'm just like, I took a step back and I'm like, well, why not just take full TP at that point? If I'm making the same amount of money, having the same exposure in the market, why not just take full TP and have less exposure? So that's why it just didn't work for me. So I never continued to do it, but I did try it. So yeah, all right. It's coming up to 11 o'clock mark. So top of the hour. Breaking up the highs. Now we're continuing. And remember, pay attention to the 5 minute. Like I said earlier, right? When it was chopping right here, I was like, dude, if this thing holds that 5 minute high, this thing can continue going up. And you can see it held that 5. This was the first sign. It held it, started displacing above it. And you can see it came back down. You know, went a little bit below that 5 minute, but pretty much, you know, went below it, tapped into this imbalance, and went right back above it, and now we're ripping back up. So this 5 minute range gives you a good idea of market sentiment in the day, of how the market is going to move. But yeah, gotta do what works for you. Exactly, and that's the hard part about trading. What works for one person may not work for somebody else. And you have to find what works for you, what works for your psychology, and stick to it. Stick to it, tweak it, become an expert at at a strategy that you know that works for you. And that's how you become I think that's how you become a great trader. You develop that strategy, you become an expert in it, and then you build the right psychology for the strategy. And the long enough time you do it, you're just like, trading becomes just like a very It's a job. You come in, you execute, and you walk away. That's it. And I'm at that point. I'm at that point where it's a job for me. It's like, there's not really, I don't come in here like, oh man, let's take trades. Let's jump in and out of trades here and there. Like, you know, like somebody coming into a casino. I come in and I'm just like, I know what I'm looking for. I come in, if I get it, I take it. If I don't, I walk away. It's a job for me. It's like going to work every single day. So, and I know as long as I keep doing this, I continue making money, and, you know, years down the road, I'm going to look back and go, you know, I'm glad I stuck to my plan, and I'm glad I stuck to it. I've been in NASBUY since 5:30. I'm chilling break even. Nice. Yeah, if this thing continues ripping, who knows? It may rip, but make sure you have your levels to where your TP is. Don't just try to hold it forever. Make sure you have, yeah, you said you did, but yeah, make sure you get out at specific levels so you don't get greedy. Because we all know what happens when you get greedy. The market ends up freaking humbling you once you get greedy. It's humbled me so many times when I'm just like getting greedy, and today and Friday was crazy. I was almost 6% in drawdown, and now I'm only 0.5%. Nice. Crawled back out of it. That's what it's about. Understand? That's important too. That's an important concept. Learning how to deal with drawdown. Another thing that with prop firms, you don't learn how to do. And that's a dangerous thing, because if prop firm something happens, and eventually if you want to go to a live account and you don't know how to deal with drawdown, what a lot of traders do because of these prop firms, they'll go into some drawdown and they'll blow their account automatically because they just want to reset it, and you know, they'll pass the valuation, get reset, put in a funded account again, and they're back to square one. But really learning how to get into some drawdown, crawl back out of the drawdown, that's important to learn. And when you're in drawdown, not to just go on tilt and start upping your size and trying to make it back in, you know, in one trade, and it can lead down a nasty spiral that it may work a couple times, but in the end, it turns out to be ugly. But yeah, patience is key. Continue being patient. Continue trading your system, and yeah. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna hop off. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we get some decent price action tomorrow. Today was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Today was some pretty good price action. I liked it. So hopefully, if this is gonna be a sign of what this whole month is gonna look like, it's gonna be a good month for me. So we'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.